So in this lecture, we will be talking about the boundary relations for magnetic fields. And also I will quickly talk about magnetic energy. So as in the case of boundary relation for electric fields, here also we will be using these two identities or formulas for defining the relationship between magnetic field intensity or magnetic flux density at the interface of two different kind of medias. So the first one is the Gauss law for magnetism, and you have already seen that the closed integral of magnetic flux density with a closed surface is always equal to 0, because magnetic like individual magnetic charges does not exist. They are always in the form of a magnetic dipole in which a north and a south pole will always be there. And the second one was Ampere's circuital law, that also we have seen. So as you can see in this figure, we have two medium. The first one is having a permeability of mu1, and second one is having a permeability of mu2. And you already know that mu is equal to mu naught into mu r. So mu r is the relative permeability. So let us first use the first equation to derive relationship uh, between the magnetic flux densities. And similar to the previous case, here also we will divide the magnetic flux density and magnetic field intensity in normal and tangential part with respect to the surface boundary. So as you can see in this diagram, this B1 is divided in B1T and B1N, and similarly this B2 is divided in B2T and B2N, right? So for applying a Gauss law for magnetism, you obviously have to assume a Gaussian surface. So in this case, we have assumed this cylindrical surface, as you may be seeing here. This cylindrical surface is having the upper surface as delta S, and similarly below surface is also having a area of delta S. And this delta H is very, very small. So it is very, very small, and we will be neglecting it in our equations. So now what we will do is we will just multiply the different component of B, which is B1 and in the down B2 with these different surface components. And finally, we will see what is the outcome. So as you can see, since delta H is very small, and since this upper surface is will be having only the normal component of this B1, so this is B1N, and this lower surface will only be having the normal component of B2, which is basically B2N. So we can directly say that B1N into delta S minus B2N into delta S should be equal to 0. So why did take me minus? Because as you know that for Gauss law, for any vector, if any vector is diverging out, then it is represented by this closed surface integral of that particular vector. And in the case of magnetic field, the total diverging out flux should be equal to 0. So which means B1N, which is the flux density multiplied by delta S, minus B2N into delta S should be equal to 0. And why are we taking this minus sign for B2N? Because B2N is entering this volume and B1N is exiting. So Gauss law talks about the total exit. The total exit will be B1 delta S minus B2N delta S. So this is how it will become 0, and delta S to delta S will be cancelled out, and we will finally get B1N is equal to B2N. So this is our first boundary relation. And if you convert this B into H, you know that B is equal to mu H. This you can also write it as mu naught into mu R into H. So this is what I have done here. So in the form of magnetic field intensity also you can write it. So this is your first relationship for the normal component of magnetic flux density and magnetic field intensity. Now coming back to the second figure here, we will use the second formula for the tangential components, which is the Ampere's circuital law. So for this, you have to take the line integral, I have assumed one a linear curve which is closed, which is A, B, C, D, as you can see here. And also this B to C distance or A to D distance is delta H, which is very, very small. And A to B and C to D distance, I have taken it as delta W. Now also there is a surface current K, which is flowing on the boundary surface of these two mediums, which are mu1, medium 1 and medium 2, represented by mu1 and mu2 permittivity. So as you can see in this curve ABCD, the section A to B are parallel to this surface. That is why we will multiply the tangential component of H, and B to C and A to D are normal to the surface. So we will be multiplying normal component of H's in the our closed integral. So this is what I have done here, and this is similar to the equation we wrote in the case of boundary relation for electric fields. So as you know that delta H is very small, these components will be zero. We can neglect these and these components, and we will be only be left with this and this component and this component. So as you can see, closed integral of H with respect to a closed curve should be equal to the total current I enclosed inside that curve. So here ABCD curve that we have taken, in this curve there is only the surface current K which is flowing inside this curve, and if you want to calculate the total current I inside that curve, you have to take the integral. But let me tell you one very important thing. Uh, if there is a surface on which there is some current density K which is flowing, then what kind of integral will we take? Should we take surface integral or should we take line integral? So actually what happens is, if this K is the current density which is flowing on the surface of any surface, then the total current I on this surface will not be surface integral, but it will be actually line integral of this K with respect to this line dl, right? Why so? Because current is not like charge. In the case of charges, you have to charges will be points. It will be like points on distributed over all the surface. But current is not a point. Current is a kind of a line which is flowing on the surface. So if this total length is L of this particular sheet, then the total current I will be equal to K into L. It will not be like you multiply the surface area with K. And for similar for if you want to calculate the total current flowing inside a volume, and if some current density J is given inside that volume, then the total current will not be volume integral. This total current will be equal to, suppose this is a wire which is having a surface area of S, then total current will be J into S, or you will have to take surface integral of J with respect to surface. So what I mean to say is that if you want to calculate the total current on a surface, you will have to take line integral of current density. And if you want to take total current, if you want to calculate total current inside a volume, then you will have to take the surface current, like surface integral of the current density. So surface you can get by cutting a cross section across that particular volume. So coming back to our topic, here the surface current density was K. So what we will do is we will multiply this K with this whole length, because it is only flowing on the surface, right? So what is this length? It is basically delta W. So this is why I have written here K into delta W, which is actually I, which is equal to, and this whole equation was basically equivalent to closed integral of H dot dl. So finally, after solving it, we can cancel out delta W from both the sides, and we will get H1t minus H2t is equal to K, which means the difference of the tangential component of magnetic field intensity is always equal to the surface current density that is flowing on the boundary surface of the two mediums. But this is only about the magnitude, and because there is no directions here, and you know that current and magnetic field intensity etc will have a direction. So for the general case, let me delete all this. So for the general case, the relationship between magnetic field intensity and the current density is calculated by this formula. So this is basically H1 minus H2. It is not the tangential or normal, it is the difference of the total magnetic field intensity. So H1 minus H2 with a cross product with the normal to the surface boundary will give the your surface current density with direction. So in this case, this is your H1 and this is your H2. So first of all, you will have to take the difference between H1 and H2. So H1 minus, sorry, H1 minus H2, then cross product of this normal surface. So this normal surface will basically be the normal to to this particular boundary surface when you are going from medium 1 to medium 2. So suppose if this is your medium 1 and this is your medium 2. So if you are going from medium 1 to medium 2, then this direction will be your normal surface AN, right? So if you multiply or take the cross product of this AN and the difference H1 minus H2, you will get K. So this is how you calculate surface current density. So if in a case, if there is no surface current on the meeting point of the two different materials, which is the boundary, then in that case, this K will become 0 and you will get H1T is equal to H2T, or in the form of B also, you can write it as B1T upon V1 is equal to B2T upon mu2. So this is the second boundary relationship for magnetic field. So basically this was the second, but this is the special case where K is equal to 0. Now let us quickly define a relationship between these angles θ1, θ2 and permeability mu1 and mu2. So in this diagram, if you can see, the angle between B1 and the normal to the surface is θ1, and the angle between B2 and the normal to the surface is θ2. So using this angle θ1 and θ2, you can just define the normal and tangential components. So B1n from this diagram will become B1 cos theta, and B1t will become B1 sin theta. Similarly, B2n will become B2 cos theta. This is basic trigonometry and you must be knowing all this. And B2t will become B2 sin theta. So we will use these identities and the boundary conditions that we have just calculated to find a relationship between these thetas and mu's. So I have written this B1n is equal to B1 cos theta, as we just saw, which is according to the boundary relation should always be equal to B2n, and B2n is also, as we saw, is equal to B2 cos theta. So this becomes your equation 1. Similarly, B1 upon mu1 sin theta 1, which is H1t, is equal to H2t, and we have taken the surface current density K as 0 by default here. So for K is equal to 0, this H1t will also be equal to H2t. We just saw it here. So which is in turn equal to B2 upon mu2 sin theta 2. This is your equation 2. And if you divide equation 1 by equation 2, you will get this relationship. Now let us quickly do one example on magnetic boundary conditions. So in this example, there are two mediums, first of which is having a relative permeability of 6 and second one is having 4. And we are given with the magnetic flux density in the second medium as 5AX plus 8AZ. And also there is a surface current at the boundary of these two mediums, which is given by 1 upon mu naught AY. Now applying the boundary relations, we have to find the value of B1 and H1. So as you can see, the normal of this boundary in this diagram is in the z axis, right? And the xy plane is working as a boundary between these two different type of mediums. So the whole xy plane is your boundary, and there is a surface current which is flowing in the direction of y, and the normal of this boundary is in the z direction. So there you are given with a vector b2, and then you have to find the vectors or magnetic flux densities b1 and magnetic field intensity h1. So from this from this equation of b2, you can clearly say that this 5ax component is the tangential component, because xy plane, in xy plane whatever is in the x direction is parallel to the xy plane, which is tangential component. So this you can say it as b2t. This is the tangential component, and since this is in the z direction, this is b2n. This is the normal component. So we can say that from the first boundary relation, B1n is always equal to B2n. We just saw this was our first boundary relation for magnetic flux fields. So since B2n is 8az, our B1n is also going to be 8az. Now, if uh, we have calculated the value of B1n, then we can clearly calculate the value of H1n. And what is H1n? H1n is nothing but B1n divided by mu, which is equal to 8az divided by, what is the value of mu for this first medium, because we are talking about H1n, it is 6 mu naught, because the mu r value is 6. So this is your H1n. Now, since we had to calculate this H1 and B1, and for B1 we have got its normal component, and for H1 also we have got its normal component. Now we have to calculate its tangential component. So let us assume that whole of the H1 is given by this equation, right? So what I have done is I have assumed our whole B1 component as bxax plus byay plus bzaz. So H1 can be just got by dividing this B1 with mu1, and mu1 is nothing but 6 mu naught, right? So from the second boundary relation that we just saw, the difference of the two magnetic field intensities, which when taken as cross product with the normal of the boundary, gives the total current density. So from the given value here B2, you can clearly calculate H2 just by dividing mu2 with B2. So this is the value of your H2. So what I will do is I will just put these values of H1 and H2. H1 we just got from this assumption, and H2 you already know. And then you will take cross product of A and 1, 2, and A and 1, 2 is the normal vector, unit normal vector with respect to the boundary. So for this case, since this is your medium 1 and this is your medium 2, so A and 1, 2 will represent the vector when going from medium 1 to medium 2, which is normal to the boundary. So in this case, it will be AZ. So you will take the cross product with AZ here, and you already know that the value of K is 1 upon mu naught ay, and you put all those things and calculate. So finally you will get all the values of b1, h1 and h2. So you will get everything from these equations, right? So this is how you can solve all the questions related to the magnetic boundary conditions. And there are so many good examples given in the Sadiku book for electromagnetism. So I will encourage you to solve all of them. Before ending this lecture, let us quickly see what is magnetic energy. So exactly the same as in the case of electric energy, where we define the total electric energy as the integral of dot product of D and E, like this. Uh, we can define our magnetic energy as the dot product of B and H taken as volume integral and divided by 2. So it will be basically 1 by 2 integral of volume integral of mu h square, because B is nothing but mu h, right? And since the total energy is integral of volume integral of energy density, so if you compare these two equations, you can clearly say that the magnetic energy density or volume magnetic energy density is 1 upon 2 mu h square, or dot product of 1 upon 2 B and H. So this you can remember. Thank you.